Hey everyone, Adam here. So in this video, I want to go over time blocking. Now, I am a huge fan of time blocking. I like this much better than to-do lists. And the reason for that is because with time blocking, basically what you're doing is you are saying how long a particular task is going to take. You're trying to estimate that, and then you're going to try to fit that piece of the puzzle throughout your day. You're going to say, oh, okay, at this time I'm going to do this task, and at this time I'm going to do this task. And when you start going about it this way, as far as trying to get tasks done and things accomplished, it is, for me anyway, so much more effective simply because if you just have like a standard to-do list, before I started doing time blocking, I would just write out a ton of things. I'd write out 30 things on my to-do list, and it would just be huge and overwhelming, and it really it would not be helpful. So for me, I have found time blocking to be very effective as far as trying to manage my day and trying to plan out your day. And so what time blocking really is it's just kind of planning out your day. That's it, pretty straightforward. Now, before I really get into the meat of this video and show you how I do time blocking and give you some pros and cons of different ways of doing time blocking, I should first set up a couple of ground rules just so everyone is on the same wavelength and give you the best chance at being somewhat successful at this method. So rule one, if you can, I know it's not always possible, try to use a realistic time frame when you're saying how long a task is going to take. So let me give you an extreme example, all right? Let's say you are producing a movie, a full-fledged movie, a 2-hour-long movie, and you haven't written the script, you're supposed to do all the filming, all the video processing, everything, right? May take hundreds of hours in order to achieve this feat if it's just you doing this. So if you come on your day and you're time blocking and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this whole thing in 2 hours because that's how long the movie is, and you haven't even written the script yet, probably not a realistic time block, right? We can probably all agree on this. Again, this is an extreme example, but you are already setting yourself up for failure because it's going to take much longer than that 2 hours that you allocated for this task. Now, obviously, I know it's not always possible to have a exact time of how long a task is going to take because issues crop up, which leads me into rule number 2, build some buffer. So what do I mean by this? I've seen some people that will try to time block like in 5-minute increments, meaning that their entire day every 5 minutes is used up. It's allocated to some task or something that they're going to do. That's great if you could stick to that, but I would say probably 99% of the people cannot stick to that strict of a time block schedule because things come up. So what I like to do is throughout the day, I'll put in like a half an hour buffer time where I don't have anything scheduled. I usually have like maybe around lunchtime, a mid-afternoon, and an evening of 30-minute chunks, so an hour and a half total of just buffer time where I do not have anything scheduled. Now, sometimes I can use that time for other tasks. It's fine. And then other times I will have to put in that time slot something that I was supposed to get done, but it just took way longer than I anticipated. So your buffer time may look completely different depending on your life. I have kids, so I have a lot of kid duty things that crop up that I just can't anticipate. And in that scenario, you may have to have a longer buffer time than perhaps maybe someone without kids. All right, so that's it. We're going to keep the rules simple. Those are my 2 basic guidelines to set you up for success with time blocking / planning out your day. So let's get into the heart of that. How can we actually go about doing this? And the beauty is it can be as simple or as complex as you want. And we'll talk about the pros and cons. All right. So one way to go about this, just take a little notebook like this and maybe the night before or the day of in the morning before your day officially begins, just write out 3 things that you want to get done. That's it. Make them, maybe you have a little rule where you say like, okay, I'm going to write out 3 things that I want to get done for this day. They have to get done. That's it. I can only do 3. I'm only going to write out these 3 things. The rest of my time is considered flex time. Whatever happens, happens. And perhaps you make a rule for yourself that those 3 items can't add up to more than 2 hours of your time. So the nice thing about this method is that it is super simple. Anyone can do it. You can immediately start practicing this, and it is also a lot less overwhelming. If you tend to get overwhelmed by like adding tons of stuff to your to-do list, or you just get overwhelmed when you see a lot of things and a lot of information, this may be a good method for you for time blocking and planning out your day. The only cons I see with this method is that if you get all 3 items done on your to-do list, and then if you struggle figuring out like what next to do with your time throughout the day, some of these other methods may help alleviate that. And again, sometimes I actually employ this method. I'll use a hybrid method, which I'll talk about later in this video. The second method is to just simply use a calendar. It can be a paper calendar, or one of the things that I like is a digital calendar, such as Google Calendar, or I think Apple Calendar. I think that's what it's called. They're all similar as far as calendars go. I just happen to be in the Google ecosystem, so I just end up using Google Calendar. But the nice thing about that is you can make multiple calendars. Here's my Google Calendar setup, and I used to use this, and then you could just write out like, you know, here's my work calendar, my kids calendar, my calendar, and then you can just an event basically equals like something you want to get done. The nice thing is you can quickly shift things around. You can drag and say that this is going to take 2 hours versus this is only going to take 15 minutes, and just drag around and modify as you need. The only thing that I don't like about using the calendar method, for me anyway, is that once you get done with the task, you can't check it off and it doesn't go away. So I have used Google Calendar in the past. I know a lot of people that time block recommend using a calendar such as this. It's a great way to go. But for me anyway, I have an even better solution. Okay, so this will be TickTick. May look a little bit overwhelming at first. We'll dive into it. It does not need to be this overwhelming. It could be this can be set up any way that you want to visualize and set this up. I'm not sponsored by TickTick. I have paid with my own money for the premium version of TickTick. There are many other applications that may do a similar thing. A couple of things that come to mind is Notion, although that's crazy powerful. You could probably build something like this, maybe Todoist, and there's a whole bunch of others. There's a free version of TickTick. If you think TickTick would be helpful for you, you can certainly download it, give it a try, and figure out if it is something for you. All right. The reason I like TickTick or an application geared with these things in mind compared to a calendar is the main reason is I can check something off. So let me just set up a task here. Let's call this mail package out, and we're gonna I set up these tags for urgent. This is gonna go to my personal list. So for me, I've set up some crazy rules. Anything urgent is going to be red. Anything important is going to be orange. Anything flexible is going to be in gray. All right. And what's nice is it gives you a little checkbox. So as soon as I get something done, I can just check it off and it's immediately removed. Unlike Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, to my knowledge, there's no way to check something off so it disappears. All right. You can set up recurring tasks and all that other craziness. And again, you can make this as complex or as simple as you want for your needs. And then it's great. You can just drag and drop and move things around like you would expect, right? So, I'm going to mail out the package at 2 o'clock and I think it's going to take an hour. You can also drill down into day view. And let's say like, my cardio today is going to be an hour and a half. So we're going to bump that to an hour and a half. And then as soon as I'm done with my cardio, that's when I'm going to make my pizza dough for the day. And then you can also over here, I know this is, you can set up as many lists as you want. This is not a full-on review or how exactly I use everything and how to set this up. But just to show you very quickly some of the power of it, you can set up these filter rules. And so now I've removed anything that I deemed flexible. So now I can just drill in and it's so much easier to look at visually. Again, you can make this as easy or as complex as you want. Now, the other nice feature of TickTick, so this is the main thing, the calendar. I live mostly in the calendar because, again, the spirit of this video is for time blocking. But you can also go into a normal list. All right. Now, again, this looks way overwhelming because this is all my personal stuff that's recurring and stuff. And then today I've got like a ton of stuff apparently going on. But you can filter by all sorts of good things. So I'm going to, I set up these tags. So now I can quickly see like, okay, what's urgent? And you can hide things very, very easily. Again, this has taken me a while to figure out how to use this software to its fullest capabilities. Not suggesting, again, you need to do that. Just showing you that, that this can be as powerful or as not powerful as you need it to be. You could just set up one list and work off that, like I said. So, again, the main function, if you are going to get into time blocking that I enjoy, is just being able to check things off when they get done. All right, so I'm going to delete this because I don't really have to mail out a package, and we are going to remove that. So that is TickTick, a very, very quick overview and why I like that. And this is pretty much my main setup. And again, I do want to stress, this can be overwhelming, even for me. Like if I need to do something, like I said, very, very quickly within the next hour, 4 or 5 actionable items, I usually just gravitate to a quick notebook and write those things out. That is my approach to everything time blocking and mapping out your day. I should also quickly mention the nice thing about TickTick or even Google Calendar is all of that stuff is also on my phone. So I can quickly add this stuff on my phone and have access to my day on my phone, which I personally find very, very valuable. Now, having said all of this, there is times where I myself get overwhelmed with TickTick. So this isn't going to mean much as far as the words I'm about to use when describing this, but it's true for any profession. So I won't get into it, what my job actually is, that's for another video. But there are times, doesn't happen that often, where I will get 4 things converging at once with my job that are very, very time sensitive, meaning that they have to get done within the next hour or 2. And it can be overwhelming because they can converge, like I said, all at once. And I do not want to spend the time on TickTick like, all right, what am I going to do within the next hour? No, because at that point it is go time. So usually what happens is I will, turn off TickTick and I'll spend 2 minutes. Like less than 2 minutes. I have to plan out the next hour of my day, right? And so again, these words won't mean anything to you, but it might be like, okay, I have a fusion, I have a plan check, I got to finalize a plan, and maybe I have to troubleshoot a patient on a treatment machine. So I have to prioritize. Okay, patients on the treatment machine, that's priority 1. Finalization, plan checker needs that plan, so that's going to be priority 2. And then 3, maybe it's answer the plan checker's question on another plan that's being plan checked. And then number 4 is the fusion. And I'll just quickly write that down in my little notebook here. And that's it. And that really helps me to stay focused within that hour. And I only have 4 things to look at, and I know exactly what order and how to immediately tackle that. And again, I don't want to spend more than 2 minutes on this because I have to start executing immediately. So there are times that I do find it very, very helpful to have a little notebook around and just quickly write down exactly what I need to do within the next hour. So that is how, when I get in that overwhelmed state, that is how I personally tackle that for just quickly mapping out the next hour in my day. All right, so that is it. Time blocking is awesome. You should give it a try, maybe on a very, very basic level, like I first suggested. Just write out 3 things you want to accomplish in your day. Maybe try out a Google Calendar or an Apple Calendar. You probably already have something like that, or heck, even a paper calendar if you're into paper and more of an analog system. And then again, I'm not endorsing TickTick or anything like that. There are other types of to-do lists that may give you the same thing. It's just one that I have found and that works for my current setup. But I will say, kind of mapping out everything has allowed me to stay focused when I want to, and it has really allowed me to think about the goals that I want to accomplish and what I really want to get done in the day in a realistic fashion. So for me, it's been incredibly helpful and a very, very powerful tool as far as staying on track. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, inspiring, whatever. Yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.